Welcome class. It is officially 9 a.m. or 2 p.m. depending on whether you're at the Cape May campus or the Mays Landing campus. Welcome class. I hope you're all safe, healthy, you're managing your time at home well, you haven't gone crazy yet. This is a huge historic moment that you're all living through. Consider this generation's 9/11 or World War II. COVID-19 and its preventative measures to stop the spread of this pandemic are causing huge disruptions to every segment of society, but you don't need me to tell you that. The show must go on, and so must our class. So, got my notes over here, camera here. I might have to adjust this for future classes, but it's a learning experience for all of us, so make the most of it. I'm basically reading out loud what I sent to you via Blackboard, so please read all this or watch this. I'll recap the homework at the end. Assuming you want to pass the class and get the most out of your education, though, you might want to reread all of the midterm discussion as well as our terms that we've discussed. So take your time. Don't forget to breathe in deep. And exhale. We're probably all holding our breath a little too much lately. A lot of panic-induced anxiety going on, which is no good for performing, which is no good for everyday life. Yes, you'll still be performing by the end of the semester. We'll get to that. Don't worry. So, we discussed from the beginning of the semester that music is a way to express emotions through organized sound. But it's not just a collection of random pitches. They have a deliberate purpose and a defined sequence of notes. And music has changed a lot over time through a series of inventions, musical techniques, and evolving cultural tastes, which we'll recap today as well. We got up to around the classical era, around the 1800s. And so a lot of our music terms from the midterms appear several hundred years old. Some of you did pretty well. Some of you forgot about half the terms from the class, which is a little scary. So make sure you review some of your terms, just so you're aware of them. I'll go over the midterm now. 222. All right, doing well. Got 90 more minutes of this class. So number one down. I didn't realize there was an error on the quiz. One down should have read the lowercase b, not uppercase. It is a flat. So if this is a B natural, a flat is a half step lower. B flat, and you lower the note. Number two across is brass, one of the four main instrument categories, which includes trumpet, trombone, and tuba. For your homework, please include one other brass instrument. Number three down is string, which is another one of the main instrument categories. They include guitar, violin, viola, cello, and bass. Also name one other string instrument, please, for your homework. Number four across is scale. Now, four across says a sequence of ordered musical notes. Some of you put staff. I accepted it because it does fit the five letters, middle letter being A. I was looking for scale, though. That sequence of ordered notes is a scale. And we'll go over different types of scales as well a little bit later on. Four down is sharp. That's where you raise a note a half step. If this note is F, F sharp goes up a half step. The highest voice part for females is the soprano. Those really high notes. Next instrument category is number 6, which is woodwind. That includes saxophone, clarinet, and flute, despite flute being only a wind instrument. Also for your homework, please name one other woodwind instrument, aside from saxophone, clarinet, and flute. Number 7 down is diminished, the type of chord with the lowered third and lowered fifth. I want to play major first. Here's a C major chord. That's C major. You lower the third, you get to C minor, and you lower the fifth and third, you get to a C diminished chord. That's a diminished chord. It sounds like something out of a horror film, like we're living through. Now, number 8 is opera. Some of you put drama. I think you probably saw that the dramatic clue in there, but it's that everything is sung, which makes it opera. And talk a little bit more about opera as well. Number 9 down is baroque, Baroque is the era before the classical era. It features compositions by Bach and other composers, and it wasn't quite as there was a lot more interrelationship between the left and the right hand. So here's an example of a Baroque piece. That's Prelude in C major by Bach. Not a whole lot of strong melody going on. Similar to Vivaldi's Four Seasons. A lot more four-part melodies going on as opposed to left hand being the chords, right hand being the melody, which is the classical era. Which is, I messed that up. I'll have to fix that. That is 11 down is classical. Also, I skipped one. 10 across is the Romantic era. So the three main eras of the classical era. The earliest is Baroque. That's around 1600 to 1750. And that's where everything, the melodies aren't quite as organized. It's four-part melodies going on for the most part, which leads us to the classical era, which is often being performed by pianos and harpsichords. And that's where the right hand has the melody, left hand has more of the chords. Here's an example of a classical piece. And so on. And then the Romantic era of the 1800s has a lot more half steps, a lot more chromatic scales. Example being Frédéric Chopin's Fantasy Impromptu. And so on. You might have just seen my cat go by because we're recording at home, and that's the way we're doing it now because times are weird. Number 12. Almost everybody missed this one. Number 12 is the motet. The motet is three different melody lines going on. Number 13 is tenor. Tenor is the higher of the male vocal parts. Number 14 down is music, sound in its simplest form. Some of you put chord. Even simpler than chord is just music. 15 down is augmented. That's another type of chord. That's like the beginning of the Beatles song, Oh Darling. It has the raised fifth. So this is a major chord. The raised fifth. And so on. Too early to perform. It's only 9 o'clock. Number 16 across is major. And number 16 down. I think I missed one. I missed one. 12 down is minor. Sorry about that. 16 down is monophonic. That's where you have one melody at a time. Or if you have, even if they're octave apart, but they're the same melody, it's still more monophonic. Another example being one person rapping, that would be technically monophonic. Number 17 across is a cappella. I'll give you some examples of that a little bit later on as we recap. Number 18 is Gregorian chant. A lot of you missed that. That's the monks singing back in the 10th century, often singing in Latin, or one Gregorian chant tune is in Greek. The Gregorian chants were sung in a church-like setting, but they were also used later on in non-church music. Number 19 down, loud in music is forte. As opposed to 20 down is piano, which is soft. Loud, soft. Forte, piano. The lower of the female singers is alto. The lower of the male singers in the lowest string part is bass. Order of guitar strings, Eddie 8 Dynamite, Goodbye Eddie. And the percussion is the instrument categories where you strike it and you hit it. Also for your homework, name another instrument in the percussion category aside from bass drum, snare drum, cymbal, gong, and the piano. We're now at about 10 minutes, so I'll stop this video and do another one in a minute.